Homework 12, Picturing Data, Video 3, Pie Charts. This is another illustration that we can use to show the distribution of qualitative data. In this example, 100 college students were asked why they chose their major. And the 4 reasons we have to choose from are interested in the subject, future earning potentials, pressure from parents, good job prospects, and the frequency of each one, 61, 19, 14, and 6. And it's real straightforward, build a pie chart. Now, I'm assuming most of you are familiar with the pie chart. Looks like a pie, different sized slices, usually shaded different colors. Each slice the correct size to show the relative frequencies of the reasons or the categories relative to each other, I should say. But the real question is, how do we draw one accurately to reflect the distribution of the answer choices? Well, you have to know a few things about a circle, such as a complete circle is 360 degrees. I think most of you know that. So I'm going to start by drawing a circle. I happen to have a nice little protractor here. This is not a compass. A compass is one of those double-pointed spiky things that you stick and spin to make a circle. A protractor is like a ruler. It just measures angles. Or in this case, it helps draw a pretty good circle. Okay, so oops, and the center of this is right about there. All right, so if you wanted to do this manually, you would have to figure out how large each slice is, but you have to know that you measure a slice in degrees. But in order to figure out the number of degrees, we have to figure out what percent of each person said one of these reasons. So remember in the in the previous series of videos when we built a frequency distribution and I said, I'm going to show you relative frequency and percentage, although it's not asked on the homework. You do need percentage here in the pie chart. And in order to calculate the percentage, you first need the relative frequency, but we can just skip that and go right to the percentage. This is out of 100, which is going to make the calculations pretty trivial. 61 out of 100 is 61%. 19 out of 100 is 19%. 14 out of 100 is 14%. And then 6 out of 100 is 6%. But if we're going to measure angles, we need to know degrees. Now, I'm pretty sure the homework won't ask you to do this. This is just for the sake of knowledge. A circle is 360 degrees. So to figure out the number of degrees for each slice, we would just have to find this percent of 360. For example, 61% of 360. It's at this point where I'm regretting in the videos for test 1, especially the first video about percents, where I'm regretting showing you, hey, let's set up a box to figure out 61% of 360. The is number, the of number, the what number. What I wish I had said the first time and stuck with it was, of means multiply, convert the percent to a decimal. We need to know 0.61 times 360. So I'm not going to use the box gimmick that I showed you. And in the future, I probably won't ever show that gimmick again. Not really sure why I did. It's not that it's wrong, it's just that it's not efficient. So 219.6 degrees. And then if we do 19% of 360, we get 68.4 degrees. If we do 14% of 360, if we do 14% of 360, really should have grabbed a better calculator. We get 50.4 degrees. And if we do 6% of 360, we get 21.6 degrees. So if you were doing this manually, you would need to know the number of degrees. You would need something to measure degrees. Let's start at the top. All right, now 219.6 degrees is more than half a circle, because half a circle is 180. So I would have to go complete 180 and then measure off a little bit more. It looks like we're gonna need another 39.6 degrees. So we'll just kind of eyeball this. 10, 20, 30, 40, so 39.6 is about there. So you would measure off 216 degrees, and that would represent interested. So I'll just put an arrow here and write the word interested, and say that it was 61%. And then you measure the next slice from the end of the previous one, so we need 68.4 degrees. So 68.4 is right about there. And so it's about here. Don't worry, in the homework this is much easier to do. So this slice represents earning potential. I wish I'd drawn the circle further that way. And that was 19%. You can also write the percents inside. There's a variety of ways that you can mark up a pie chart, but sometimes the slices are too small to write anything inside of them. Excuse me. The next slice is 50.4 degrees, so I would measure it from the end of the previous slice. So 50.4 is about here, roughly. And that slice represents, I should have changed colors. Let's just do this. Sorry folks, I didn't think about this too much in advance, shame on me. The third category was pressure from parents. We'll just write pressure, and that was 14%. And then the last slice, we don't have to measure it, it's the only slice left, but that was the one about good job prospects. Job prospects. And that was only 6%. So if you're gonna do a pie chart manually, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to calculate the number of degrees based on the percentages for each category. Then you have to measure it off, and you can make it prettier by shading in things different colors. There's a red slice, here's a green slice, and here's a, geez, I hate this blue marker because it's so stinky. But be careful, I want to inhale those fumes. Oh God, different brand marker. So you can draw it up, make it nice and pretty. So I think you understand the concept of a pie chart. The mechanics behind drawing it manually get a little bit annoying, but I want to show you how to do it in the homework. Because in the homework, it's a lot easier. The only thing that you need to do in the homework to draw the pie chart is to calculate the percentages. So let me remove my phone from my tripod, and let's go back to the homework. And let's take a look at this exact example. This is number 4. It's my number 4. Your number 4 might be a little bit different. And there's the exact same values that we had. So how do we do the pie chart in the online homework? Well, they start by giving you a pie that's got everything spread out equally. Now, there's a couple of ways to do this. Number 1, you can click on the edge of a slice and drag and move it until you put it in the correct place. Now, where's the correct place? If you'll notice over here on the side, I'm gonna go ahead and move the slice of pie. As I move the slice of pie, it tells me what percent I've cut off. So I could rotate it and drag it around until I get it where I want it to be. But the easier way is to just go into these boxes and type your percentages. The first percent was 61. So we'll tab out of there. Now if you notice, it says over 100%. I know, I haven't finished typing them. The next one was 19%. Remember, they all started at 25%. The next one was 14%. And again, I'm just hitting the tab button to go from one box to the next. And the last one was 6%. And we'll tab out of that. And voila, it's a little bit off the screen, so let me scroll. There it is. There's their pie chart. There's mine. Not too bad. So in the homework, having the homework draw the pie chart for you is simply a matter of going to the legend on the left and entering the percent for each category. And remember, you can hit tab to go from one to the next. All right, so pretty easy.